Welcome to Spurs Focus, your go-to spot for daily Tottenham news, transfers, and match updates. Don't forget to support the channel by hitting that subscribe button now. Let's dive into today's top story. Big boost for Spurs. Dominic Solanke edges closer to a comeback. Maddison and Kulusevski step up rehab. And Son Heung-min proves he's still world-class with a hat-trick in ML. Tottenham striker Dominic Solanke looks to have taken one huge step closer towards a return from injury after missing the last 3 games. The 28-year-old has been dealing with an ankle issue since early August, which has resulted in him only playing 50 minutes of competitive football this season. All of those arrived before September's international break, with Solanke unavailable for wins against West Ham United and Villarreal, after surprisingly being absent from the squad to face his former club Bournemouth prior to the 2-week domestic pause. Despite having nearly 3 weeks to recover, ahead of last Saturday's win over West Ham, Solanke was ruled out of the London derby, and yet Frank still delivered a mostly positive update. Dom will not be available still. We don't expect it to be too long, but he will not be available for this game, he said in a press conference. With only a few days between Spurs' latest 2 victories, it was no surprise that Solanke remained out, but again Frank's comment suggested a return is not too far off. He is taking steps in the right direction, the Tottenham boss revealed before the Villarreal win earlier this week. So that is positive. As you saw out there that he was not involved in training, he is not ready to be involved tomorrow. For a number of weeks, Frank has been delivering similar Solanke updates in his press conferences, and yet he has continued to be absent. However, it certainly looks as though there was substance to his words, with the England international captured out on the grass, doing some individual training on Thursday, as per Sky Sports' Michael Bridge. A return to the matchday squad facing Brighton this Saturday is highly unlikely, considering how long he's been out, and also because he is yet to training with the squad this month. It is certainly a positive update though, and, barring any untimely setbacks, Solanke could return before the next international break against either Bodo/Glimt in the Champions League or Leeds United a few days later in Premier League action. This injury boost has arrived following James Maddison and Dejan Kulusevski updates. The 2 attackers are both out with long-term knee injuries, but are stepping up their rehabilitation in the gym at Hotspur Way. Maddison also captioned an Instagram post, "Missing it so much. Long way to go, but I cannot wait to be back out there in that Spurs shirt, man." Hands together and white heart emoji. Son Heung-min continued his blistering start to life in Major League Soccer on Wednesday night, grabbing a hat-trick for Los Angeles FC in a 4-1 win over Real Salt Lake. The South Korean left Tottenham Hotspur in the summer after a remarkable 10-year stint with the club. His decade in North London culminated in superb style as he lifted the UEFA Europa League trophy, following a 1-0 win over Manchester United in Bilbao. The departure of Ange Postecoglou and the appointment of Thomas Frank ushered in a new era for Spurs, one that ultimately began without Son, who departed for a new adventure in the United States. While there were some doubts about his ability to perform in the Premier League last season, he has already proven he has more than enough left in the tank to torment MLS defences. Real Salt Lake were unable to handle the 33-year-old's running power and finishing throughout Wednesday's game. Son scored on a breakaway, and then from distance in the first half, before capping off another counter-attack in the second to complete his hat-trick. After the match, Son said he was delighted to hit the ground running in MLS, but warned the rest of the division that he can still get better. "I think I'm still adapting to this league, but I think I can play better than where I am at, for sure," he said. "It's a lot about communication with the players, and I think I have a very close relationship with everyone. It's been 5 or 6 weeks, I would say, but everybody has welcomed me so well, and we've been communicating a lot. Also off the pitch, culture-wise, it's very important. There are still other things in this league to understand and to build between players, but I think it's working really well at the moment. 5 of Son's 6 matches for his new club have been away from home so far, but 3 of the next 4 will be at BMO Stadium in Los Angeles." On this evidence, the home fans have plenty to be excited about. Chaos, drama, and ambition at Tottenham. From big money signings and Maddison's injury setback, to Levy's shock exit, and Ademola Lookman's transfer saga. Spurs are entering a new era under Thomas Frank. It has been a chaotic few months at Tottenham Hotspur since Thomas Frank was named as Ange Postecoglou's replacement. In hindsight, completing the signings of Mathys Tel and Kevin Danso, and then securing the big-name additions of Mohamed Kudus and Xavi Simons, and taking their spending to over £170 million for the summer, was hugely positive. On top of that, the Lilywhites managed to bring in French striker Randal Kolo Muani on a season-long loan deal on deadline day to bolster their attack further. But Spurs fans will know that getting to this stage was anything but smooth sailing. Creative midfielder James Maddison ruptured his anterior cruciate ligament, ACL, during a pre-season game in August, while Spurs also failed miserably in trying to sign Savinho, Morgan Gibbs-White, and, most painfully, Eberechi-Eze, Daniel Levy, stepping down as chairman after nearly a quarter of a century in the role earlier this month, was another bombshell. But Spurs have managed to rally and enjoy a steady start to the campaign under new boss Frank, as we now take a look at two major talking points this week. Tottenham-linked winger Ademola Lookman's situation at Atalanta is growing increasingly toxic. The Nigeria international has not played for the Serie A side since failing to force through a move to Inter Milan in the summer transfer window. Lookman has been at odds with the club since Atalanta refused to sell him to a rival, and he handed in a transfer request before publicly accusing them of breaking a promise. The Italian outfit hit back by claiming the agreement to sell him for a certain fee only applied to non-Italian clubs. The 27-year-old has trained alone since going on strike and was not part of the team's preparations on Tuesday to face PSG on Wednesday night in their opening Champions League game of the season. Manager Ivan Djuric last week described the relationship as strained after Lookman met with club chiefs to discuss his role at the club. Djuric said Lookman won't be called up. It's a bad, unpleasant situation. We need spirit, fighting spirit, humility, hard work, and a sense of belonging. Our players need to be like this. I want a different level of humanity. He followed those damning comments by adding, I have a very good relationship with Lookman, but I shouldn't have to beg him to play. Should Lookman and Atalanta fail to bury the hatchet, the situation will play into the hands of potential suitors, including Tottenham. Spurs were reported last month to have inquired about the forward. Atalanta were willing to sell Lookman for £43.3 million, and the player was offered to Spurs on numerous occasions during the window, though the North Londoners never made a formal offer. If the situation persists in the coming months, Spurs will be confident that they can sign the player for a bargain fee of around £20 million in January, given that Frank is reportedly a big admirer. Levy's sudden departure sparked rumours of a potential takeover deal at Spurs, which was swiftly denied by Tottenham in an official statement. The board of the club and ENIC confirmed that Tottenham Hotspur is not for sale, and ENIC has no intention to accept any such offer to acquire its interest in the club, the statement read. ENIC owns an 86.91% stake in Spurs, while the remainder is owned by a group of minority investors. Levy and members of his family hold a 29.88% share in the British investment company, and Joe Lewis's family trust owning the remaining 70.12%. That leaves an awkward situation whereby Levy still owns shares in the club. Football Insider reports that ENIC is likely looking to find a buyer for his shares, with any potential deal expected to take place in the Bahamas, where Lewis and Spurs' new non-executive chairman Peter Charrington are based. The outlet quoted former Manchester City financial advisor Stefan Borson as saying, I think that they're being honest in terms of them not having a particular desire to sell right now, certainly not all of it. But I do think that the situation with Daniel Levy doesn't seem to be sustainable. He's been effectively excluded from the management group. He's got a very substantial holding in the club. Indirectly, he owns 30% of ENIC, so you would think that the possibility, at the ENIC level, not the Tottenham Hotspur level, that there might be some discussions about who can replace Daniel Levy within the ENIC group that would then be the ultimate holder of shares in Tottenham Hotspur. Now that transaction, if it happened, would take place in the Bahamas. Daniel Levy and his family would receive the consideration of that sale of that 30%, and probably would not be anything to do with the takeover code, given that that company is a private Bahamas-based entity. When it comes to prospective buyers, Amanda Staveley's company, PCP International Finance, had been reported as a potential suitor. But PCP released a statement shortly afterwards saying they did not intend to make a bid for Tottenham. Tottenham's new era begins. CEO Vinay Venkatesham has promised fans that the Lewis family are fully committed to making Spurs a trophy-winning force, with ambition, passion and belief at the heart of the project. Tottenham's Chief Executive Officer, Vinay Venkatesham, has made it clear that the club's ambitious owners are focused on sporting success at the club. Venkatesham was joined at Spurs' Champions League victory against Villarreal on Tuesday night by new non-executive chairman Peter Charrington, as well as Vivian and Charles Lewis, the children of former Tottenham owner Joe Lewis. The siblings are now the power behind the club as senior managing directors of Tavistock, the group behind Spurs owners ENIC. Vivian's son-in-law, Nick Butcher, co-CEO of Tavistock, with former Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy's son Josh, is also a powerful player behind the scenes. In terms of the daily running of the club though, it will be Venkatesham who is in charge as CEO, and he wrote a message to the club's fans in the matchday programme for the European match this week, and here is what it said in full. Dear supporters, as this is our first home match since the recent announcement of Daniel's departure, I'd like to take this opportunity to pay tribute to our outgoing executive chairman. It read, "The club has come a long way over the last 25 years, and that is down to Daniel's vision, passion and commitment. He has played a huge part in the transformation of the club, and his contribution to where Tottenham Hotspur is today is quite simply immense. He was one of the longest-serving Premier League chairmen, and if you look back at Daniel's time involved in football, his legacy is really clear for everyone to see. For me personally, he has been a wonderful support over my first few months, and I feel really settled in at Spurs. Whilst it is a natural time to look back, we must also look ahead. We are entering a new era of leadership at the club, completely backed by our majority shareholder. The Lewis family, I know the family very well. I think it's important for you to know that they are extremely passionate about Tottenham Hotspur, and they are ambitious for the club. They are focused on ensuring that everything we do across the complete breadth of the club centres on long-term sporting success. Of course, we know a number of other teams that have the exact same ambitions we have to compete to win the biggest trophies in the game. That means there is hard work ahead to reach our goals. When I joined, I talked about being focused on three main things, which haven't changed. The first is doing everything I could to support our technical teams on the ground, across both our men's and women's teams, to give us the best chance to be successful on the pitch. The second is our people at the club, ensuring that we have the right talent and culture to drive us forward, both on and off the pitch. Last, but by no means least, is our relationship with our supporters, ensuring we are bringing you closer to your club, communicating better with you, and actively listening to your views and thoughts. We have amazing foundations: the stadium, the training centre, being based in London, and of course our huge global fan base. Then, on that amazing night in Bilbao in May, we added belief. Belief that we can win and keep winning. So as we embark on another European campaign tonight, I know you will all put your full energy and focus in supporting the team for a huge season ahead.